Hello, this is Kathy with the Traveling Homesteader and Gyroscope Farm again, and today we're going to talk about finances. Nobody really likes to talk about them because everybody just wants more money but has a hard time sometimes managing where their money goes. In a nutshell, if we get to talking about our finances so we can look at our finances in a different way, we can actually use them to our advantage rather than to our detriment. And at the moment, if just some facts for you. According to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2019, the real median income for the average man was just over $54,000. And that same year, on that same census, the average woman was getting about $47,000, just over. So there's a difference of just over $10,000 between what the average man and woman makes each year. And that's actually up from the years before, which isn't so bad. But with that in mind, that same census showed that the average poverty rate was it actually had gone down to 10.5% from 11.8%. Now, if we look at what the poverty rate is, the average poverty the average rate for poverty is, some say, $25,000 a year, but according to this same census, a 65-year-old single person was in poverty when they were at $12,000, just roughly over $12,000 a year in income. Now, if we think about a 65-year-old, that's the average retired person, right? And so when we look at that in comparison to what poverty is for a family, according to the same 2019 census, a married couple with up to 9 children, that's a rather large family, can have up to $54,000 a year and be in poverty. So, with that in mind, that's kind of a range. A single person, just over 12,000 to a family of 11, can have up to just over $54,000. Now, if we look at some more details on that, when we have the ability to not be in poverty, but we also see in the news a lot that there's the jobs have gone down. In other words, unemployment has gone down. But we find that if you're like me, you know a lot of people that are holding down 1, 2, 3 jobs, sometimes 4 jobs, and so one person might be doing all those jobs and kind of having things go a little bit askew. So the numbers sometimes can be a little bit misguided. But if we also look at retirement, okay, in 2021, according to the Media Help Alert, okay, the average person, not even the average person, half of Americans didn't have retirement savings. Now, I know for me, I have a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I managed to kind of sneak away with that by accident almost. So at some point, we all want to set aside for retirement, but we realize that we have immediate needs. But with that in mind, if we think about retirement, in 2021, okay, and actually by September of 2020, okay, 28.6 million people the ages of 56 to 74 retired. So it's now April of 2021. So about 6 months ago, about 28 million people retired at the end of last year, which is a fair amount of people to retire. And of those people, about half of the Americans 65 or older have an annual income of less than $24,000. Now, if we look at that, if we use the figure of $24,000, if we think about rent or mortgage, if we think about groceries, gas, we have our cars, we have our health care. I know for me right now, I'm on the low end of things, and I'm running about $1,500 a month. Depending on what health issues you have and where you live, any average rent where I live can range between $1,000 and $2,000 a month. So slowly but surely, that $24,000 a month gets kind of eaten away. If you have $1,000 mortgage or rent, you have about $200 saved for groceries. If you have a car payment, that can range in price from about $200 to about $500 a month, just as a rough guesstimate for most vehicles. Slowly but surely, that's kind of going down that line. And then we have added other things, everyday phone, if we want to go out, play with friends, go on a vacation, that sort of thing. When we look at what the poverty rate is, what the average retirement age is, and what we have, there's something's not settling in. So that's why we got to look at finances when we are trying to be self-reliant. So finances play a big part in just about every avenue of the 5 areas that I talk about. So finances, being one of the main areas, can really affect education or your job. It can affect if you want to garden or be a part of a CSA. It can affect your food storage. It can affect all these different things. And so once we get kind of on a plan, that really helps. Now, 2 people that probably most of us have heard of, and one that I followed, well, both of them I've followed pretty regularly, but we have Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, are both very well-known financial helpers, you might say. And they each have great help on various different parts of finance, from just getting out of debt to, working the stock market, getting ready for, retirement, helping with 401ks versus, in some cases, some state workers might be able to apply to PERS for when they retire. But I ended up doing Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey, and I have no affiliate with him, but I ended up finding that was very helpful to me, because I now physically put down and do some of the same tasks that he applied. He talks about having an envelope system, where basically, it's probably self-explanatory, but that you have one envelope for one bill, another envelope for another bill, and you put the cash in that envelope. If you work in cash, then you know what you have and what you don't have. If you have rent, say at $650 a month, and you have your groceries at $200 a month, and you have your phone at, say, $80 a month, you have those in each of your envelopes. Like for me, I take it out of my envelope, put it right back into the bank when I need to pay it, and I pay it through my bank account. And when that money's gone out of your envelope, you don't have that anymore. So it's good. It's a good physical reminder, for me at least, to say, you had it, you paid the bill, it's gone, it's done. When we don't see our money, when we use credit cards or debit cards, sometimes we have that illusion that we have more than what we do. So I find for myself, by following Dave Ramsey's envelopes kind of system, it really has helped me see, oh, I need to do this or I need to do that. Or, oh, I'm spending more over here, maybe I should adjust that. If gas changes prices, I find that that's something that I need to change a little bit sometimes. I've been able to pay for my Jeep up to my lowest was about $25 for a full tank of gas. Now with gas going up, I'm paying a little bit more. It's running about $32 to $35 a tank. So those sorts of things we have to watch out for. But in today's day and age, we find that there's a lot of different things going on. So part of the reason why I think we should get talking about finances a little bit more, especially with friends, don't be so, from where I come from, I'm originally from Connecticut. We have certain code, that's the unwritten code, that you just don't talk about your finances with just anybody. So know who you can talk to about your finances that you trust, and that you can say, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you do about that? But if we kind of look at some more facts, according to Bloomberg.com, there was a September article in September 2020 called Financial Anxiety is Up Around the Globe. And in that article, they have a survey that they did an international survey. Now, this is excluding America. Okay? It says, International Survey of Adult Finance Literacy says that 42% of the 125,787 people, adults that were polled, were worrying about meeting everyday expenses. 37% of that 125,787 people reported that they were just getting by. Now, I have to ask, is that happening to you? Is that happening to me? Is that happening to your friends? I know the people I talk to, some of them are just getting by. They're trying to, with the pandemic that's happened, their businesses shut down. They got less hours at work because of the type of work they may have. Or maybe because they've gotten into a business that's needing their work. Doctors, nurses, their work is going up during a pandemic. So it kind of depends on what sector you're in. But the interesting part is, so that 125,000 figure was international, right? Not America. Remember, so coming back to America, if we look at what NPR said, across America, and this is the same interesting bit. Across America, Americans are in the same boat. If we look at Chicago, New York, LA, and Houston, in those four major cities, 50% in Chicago, 53% in New York, 56% in LA, and up to as high as 63% in Houston are all facing serious financial problems, including depleted savings, trouble paying bills, and just feeling like ends aren't coming together. So that's what I found interesting, is that at least half of the population of Chicago and other major cities are really having tough times with finances. And this is just as of this last year in 2021. So that leads me to try to talk to people about the basics of finances. I would really suggest, if you want more in-depth, I'm kind of doing general stuff here. If you want more in-depth things based on what you're interested in, it could be financial planning. It could be retirement. It could be more interest in the stock market, or helping to find different ways of earning money. There are a lot of different ways for people to earn money right now. But whatever your avenue is for your finances, some basic things to remember are: one, live within your means. If you're only making $2,000 a month, don't spend $3,000 a month. If you're lucky enough to be making $30,000 in a month, I want to be your friend. But if you're making just X amount, you can't go over that. So if you live within your means, that'll help you kind of sort out what you can pay. And that includes kind of a different mindset. Try not to be keeping up with the Joneses, as it were. The Joneses may be great people, and they may have all the fancy cars and the fancy house, and they may be able to have these fabulous vacations, but how much in debt are they? And do you really want to be that way? Because when push comes to shove, the debtors are going to be coming to collect, and nobody likes that. So where you can start then, from living within your means, is to budget. Know where your money goes. Take that time to actually take a month's statements and either look at your bank statements or actually keep all your receipts from what you spend in a month and actually write down: I went out to dinner 3 times. I had lunch out with my coworkers a dozen times. Oh, I only spent X amount of groceries. I spent a lot on gas because I went out of town for this break or whatever. By seeing where you start out with your money, you can then allot money for gas, for eating out, for being social. You can even allot money for gifts if you want to set aside some money for gifts, or even setting aside money for vacation. It could be anything. And according to Dave Ramsey, and it's a really interesting thing that I hadn't heard about, but it makes sense, is to have a zero budget. And so basically what that means is to allot your money, all your money, to a certain designated category. And by doing that, if you have, say you make, I don't know, $2,000 a month, then if you start with $2,000, you should end with zero. So if you put in, your mortgage is $1,500, your car payment is $375, your gas is going to be $150, your groceries, whatever your bills are, you should do a little bit of mixing and finding out to make sure that all your money has a place to go that ends up at zero from your 2000 mark. And that's really helpful too. So if you find out what the zero out method is with Dave Ramsey, I found that really opened my eyes to see where I can actually put my money in different places. Which then leads to like making goals. If you really want to take a vacation, start budgeting for that. If you know you want to go to, Key West, or if you want to go to the Bahamas, or if you want to take a trip to Thailand, find out what the prices are. Find out what deals you can get and not get. There's some great websites out there for travel deals. I'm going to put a plug in for kiwi.com. That's a great site. And it allows you to kind of sort through some different prices from a lot of different locations to a lot of different destinations. So whatever your goals might be, maybe you want to pay off your house, maybe you want to pay off your car, and then you can start kind of going off from there. Making goals, financial goals, is really a good thing to do, too, which then can help you with a debt snowball. We have something called a debt snowball, where you start paying off your smallest bill first. When you start plotting out your bills, if you have, $30 on your credit card, and then you have, your car bill, your apartment or house, if your $30 credit card is your smallest bill, pay that off first. Whatever the minimum payment is, even if it's $30, just pay that off, and then you tack that $30 onto your next smallest bill. If you have another credit card that's, say, $1,000, so you have the $30 from the first credit card, tack it onto the minimum payment to the next one, say it's $100, so then you're paying $130 per month on your second bill until the second one's paid off. And then you have the $130 from the second bill to put into your third bill. All the while, you're paying all your minimum payments for every bill you have. That debt snowball is a pretty fast way to get your bills paid off. And it's really helpful to know how you can where you sit, and have a quick avenue to get things done. So when you pay off debt, like through the debt snowball, you have an opportunity to see kind of an open road before you. In fact, just the other day I was thinking about this, and I thought, my only real debt right now is my car and my student loans. And for that, I'm really grateful. And once those are all paid off, I have a lot more freedom. I can actually save up for something, and I can go kind of wherever I want. So if you can pay off all your debt, what would you do? Where would you go? Would you sell your house and go on vacation? Just have a long-term vacation? Would you like to move from, say, where you are to a new city, and be able to just start fresh there? So what goals do you have once you pay off your debt? That can be kind of an exciting thing. But some people aren't really up to doing that. They don't want to uproot themselves and move. So maybe you just want to take a vacation more often. Or maybe you want to be around family more often. Maybe you want to stock up your pantry a little bit better. So whatever your goals are financially, whether you want to just be out in the world and brave, or if you want to kind of stick at home and have people come to you, or if you even want to give to charity more often. That's the help of being financially stable yourself, is that once you become financially stable, you're able to go and do for others that maybe what you can't do right now. So that's the cool part too, is you get the opportunity to help others. So why I've decided to go into finances like this right now is, remember that once you've budgeted and once you've seen what you owe in different places, that's when you can plan for our other areas, like education. If you really feel like you need to get a boost up at your job, what education can you get to help you earn more money? And so, how much money you have available to that pursuit will determine what you can do. For example, maybe you feel that you need a college degree to help you get a better job. And getting a college degree can help in a lot of ways. Helps to be for being a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. But if your skills, or you're more interested in saying welding or plumbing, you do need to get a certain amount of training for that. But you can almost immediately get into a job and get paid training, on the job training, or go to some technical schools that take a lot less time to get you tracked into the job that you want. So that's why education is really important. Just know what you want to do to gain more money in your area. The other thing is, now we have an opportunity to find a lot of free training online. YouTube's a great thing. Another site called Skillshare is a great thing. You can find a lot of good information to learn and to increase your knowledge for work, or to even to help you get a job, one, and to help you get more information to get a promotion at your work. So that's why finances help with for your job as well. It helps you increase your marketability to get a better job. It also helps you know how to start for food storage. If you don't have a whole lot of money to start out to get food storage, then okay, I'll just start by getting an extra package of pasta, say, or you get maybe one extra meal at a time when you go grocery shopping. But if you have more money allotted for that, then maybe you can, allot $30 a week extra to put into your food storage. Maybe you can then also, with that same idea, get, $10 more of food and maybe $15 for emergency preparedness. You have the opportunity to then choose what to go where. So that's why finances kind of plays a big role in each of the other areas that we talk about for self-reliance. And you don't have to be living off-grid to do that. So no matter where you live, no matter where you are, knowing your finances, what your daily expenses are just to live, is what everybody needs to know. If you want to do anything extra, like travel or, have friends over or have animals, that's something else to think about. So now that we've talked about living within your means, debt snowballs, we've talked about budgeting and even making goals for finances. These are all things that I'm going to ask you to kind of do a little homework. Look at your finances and see where you sit. Are you doing pretty well? Are you doing pretty poorly? What do you think you could improve on to help you become more financially stable, to become more self-reliant? So with that in mind, keep coming back to the Traveling Homesteader. Check out the Gyroscope Farm. And also, we have an ebook on self-reliance called the Self-Reliance book on self-reliance. And so it's pretty self-explanatory, but that book has it's an interactive ebook that allows people to kind of go at their own pace and help learn in the 5 different areas. So keep up the good work practicing being self-reliant, and keep me posted down here. Leave some comments. Check us out on Gyroscope Farm and subscribe to the Traveling Homesteader. Hope you have a great day.